Welcome to another Dragonlance Saga gaming episode. Today I'm playing Catacombs Books Dragonlance Solo Quest, Gnomes-100, Dragons-0. It is Linara's Fearswelt the Fourth. My name is Adam. For those of you who don't know, if you're in America, it's July 4th. So happy July 4th, everyone. Happy Independence Day. I'd like to take a moment and thank my collaborator patrons, the heroes of the Lance, and invite you to consider becoming a patron or a member of this channel by visiting the links in the description below. You can even pick up Dragonlance gaming materials using my affiliate link. All right, so we're going to be playing this Gnomes-100 Dragons-0 game. It's sort of like an adventure game book that's much more possibly needlessly complex and convoluted. Either way, I hope it's going to be fun. It's all reading like every game book is, but there's a function of rolling dice, a 12-sided dice in this particular game's case. So I have, rather than a camera just showing a 12-sided dice, I just pulled up Google's random number generator, and I'll use that to simulate the roll of a dice. You can also actually, for the game, if you don't have any dice, just spin and stop at any point of the pages, and at the bottom left of the corner of the page, it's going to show you a number as if it were a 12-sided dice. So, like I said, there's a lot of setup. This is probably going to take a while to get through, and so I'm not going to finish it all in this video. That's why I said part one. The whole premise of this is, and we're going to get into it here in a second, but just sort of to break it down really quick, you're a human baker who sort of gets conscripted into crawling through Mount Nevermind and collecting up weapons, essentially, in order to fight an oncoming army. So Lord Soth is involved, an evil dragon is involved, and the story is supposed to be, sort of a little tongue-in-cheek and stuff because of the setting, but it's also a little bit strange. So that all being said, let's dive in and let's see where we are here. This is by James M. Ward and Gene Blashfield. Cover art's by Clyde Caldwell, and interior art is by Jeff Easley. Of course, we love these artists. To Robbie the Robot, JMW. This book is for Chandel, my own inventive gnome, JBB. All right, introduction. You are Rye, a recently promoted baker living on Sancrist. You were a baker's apprentice for 3 long years, but yesterday the Bakers Guild declared that you had attained full bakerhood. You think it was just your bread rolls that did it, but you can't be sure. You spent the entire day yesterday looking for a job in the town and found nothing. Every bakery was willing to settle for an apprentice baker to avoid paying the guild rates demanded for a full-fledged baker. While drinking at a local inn, trying to sop up your disappointment, you heard what sounded like the chance of a lifetime. A gnome at a nearby table was talking. He said, "In just a few months, things will really be cooking around Mount Nevermind." You caught the word cooking, and then managed to interpret the rest of the rapid gnomish speech, being an enterprising young man, and having heard all you need to hear, you went over to them, bought drinks all around, and started asking questions. The gnomes said, once you managed to slow them down, that Mount Nevermind had a huge cavern filled with baking equipment, and hundreds of gnomes had a life quest to develop the art of baking. The gnomes, glancing at each other, also added that they were certain the baking gnomes would be happy to share their secrets with a human who would lead all the gnomes. Excitement rising in you at the thought of secrets that might make you one of the greatest bakers on Krynn, you pursue the conversation. You asked the gnomes when they were going back to Mount Nevermind, and they said that they had to hurry because of the huge get-together coming in just a few months. The thought of leaving the gnomes in baking for a huge party made your eyes gleam with anticipation. "Where can I sign up?" you asked, and an important-looking gnome gave you a huge contract written in gnomish, which you quickly signed on the dotted line. That is how you became the general of all the gnomish armies. For what was cooking at Mount Nevermind was preparation for war. The rest of Krynn had been embattled for many months in the struggles to prevent the Queen of Darkness and her evil dragons and Draconians from taking over the land. Word had reached the gnomes in their volcanic fastness on the Isle of Sancrist that a dragon army was coming with evil dragons and hordes of the horrid dragon-like reptiles called Draconians, coming to destroy the gnomes' homeland. The gnomes, of course, are inventors, not fighters. They consult their histories and discovered that whenever the dragon had come to Mount Nevermind before, a human had led the gnomes to victory. So they sent their best gnomish recruiters to hire a human, any human, and you're it. Even if there were some way to get away from Sancrist, it's really too late, because the gnomes need your help. There are only 20 days left before the enemy is supposed to arrive, 20 days to explore the entire weird mountain the gnomes have inhabited for thousands of years. To see what you can find that will be useful in the fight, your thin body shivers at the thought. Hey, Skull Cowboy, thanks for joining live, man. You like your gnomes with a bit of salt too, huh? How to play. If you enter a world where gnomes have been working for centuries to build perfect machines, your knowledge of machines is limited to what you've learned using pots, pans, and ovens. Your purpose is to locate within Mount Nevermind all the machines and other items that might be useful in the battle against the dragons and Draconians. After reading through these instructions, turn to 8 and begin your adventures in the caverns of Mount Nevermind. As you enter each new chamber, study the picture and read the box's introductory material, usually at the top of the page opposite the picture. From the illustration, you must decide whether to talk to or fight any creatures you see, or examine other objects that catch your eye. If the object or creature you wish to examine isn't listed in the choices given in the text, it's of no use to you on your quest. The choices you make from the illustrations direct you to other sections of the book. Be sure to keep track of your picture page where you were at with the gnomish Mount Nevermind worksheet bookmark, which you can separate from the back cover and mark down all the items you acquire for the final battle. And you can see the bookmark here. Let me pull it up. So this is the bookmark here. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't have Steam open. Come on now, go away. But you basically add in how many days, if you're going to mark this off, use your pencil or something. But I added in a form field so I can reuse this without having to worry about it. But basically this worksheet is going to tell you how many days are remaining. Each room exploration takes a full day. If you return to a room, it's a half a day. And so I'll keep track of all that there. And once you're at the end of the 20 days, then that's it. The dragons are there, and you just have to deal with it the best way you can. This Draconian scout, we're going to get into in a sec, but he's going to be hiding. And let's just figure that out right now, where he's going to be hiding. These are the different pages. You're supposed to hide him in the book. So he's going to be hidden at page 18. If I ever run across page 18, then I have to fight this Draconian scout, no matter what. It kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is. Okay. That being said, let's get back to the book. Okay, the sections to which you are sent explain what happens as a result of your choices, like any choose-your-own-adventure book, basically. There's a danger at every turn, but there's also vital clues along the way that'll help you complete your quest. With lots of luck, and even more common sense, you'll be able to help the gnomes overcome the dragon armies. Time in the mountain. You have 20 days in which to gather everything you can find that might be useful in stopping the invading dragon army. Usually, if you go into a chamber, you'll spend 24 hours there. This takes into account inspecting various machines, talking with the gnomes and creatures around you, and eating and sleeping. There will be times during your quest when you accidentally or on purpose return to a certain area. If this happens, you use only a half day or 12 hours. Keep track of the time. If you return to a chamber to get something you left there or get information from things you didn't look at before, it takes only a half day. You arrive there and quickly leave again, and you use no time at all. Special conditions exist to give you more or less time in the game. The text will always tell you how much time to add or subtract in increments of 24 hours. Keep track of the passage of time on the worksheet bookmark. When you are ready for the final battle, or when your 20 days have run out, you immediately turn to page 82. Moving around in Mount Nevermind. This is the fun ridiculousness of this game. The main method you'll use to travel to the many different chambers in Mount Nevermind is perhaps the prized gnomish invention, the gnome flinger. Mounted in the center of the main hall, central shaft of the volcano, it allows the gnomes or you to be catapulted to places on the cliffs above. Of course, it doesn't always work properly, but that's what nets are for. You will learn more about the gnome flinger when you turn to 8 and start the adventure. When you finish exploring a chamber, you can return to the gnome flinger by using one of the great natural wonders of Mount Nevermind. The whole ancient mountain is honeycombed with thousands of smooth volcano vents, which are all open out onto the main hall at the center of the mountain. Young gnomes who haven't yet begun their life quests spend hours every day sliding down the vents and then being flung into the cliff above. You can enjoy the benefits of these vents also when you are through with a particular chamber. Always assume that you will easily find a vent that will slide you back to the gnome flinger. Even in the lower areas, the mountain that there are vents where the drafts blow so strong that gnomes and you slide up to the mountain hall. So no matter where you are in the game, you can always get to the main hall immediately through these vents. It's just a way to get you back to the gnome flinger to explore different areas. There are, however, other ways to move around Mount Nevermind. Most chambers have one or more exits leading to other chambers by passageways, and there must be other ways because the gnomish assistants assigned to you always seem to keep up with you, but you can't figure out how. See how it has a 7 here? Oh, you can't because I'm covering it. Sorry. You'll see it in different pages. All right, combat. At various points in your quest, you'll encounter enemies. In order to retrieve items for the final battle, you'll sometimes have to fight the enemies or convince them in some other way to give you things. The combat system is simple, give and take process. You try to strike your enemy. If you succeed, determined by a roll of 12-sided die, you subtract life points from your enemy according to the weapon you use to do damage. For example, if you strike with your unarmored fist, you subtract 1 life point from the creature's total. If you strike with armor, you do 5 points of damage, subtracting that number from the creature's life points, found on combat table on page 160. Let me show you page 160 really quick. Where is it? Here's this. So basically, you just see every type of creature that you can find, the page that they're found on. Of course, these generic imps right here are all over, so you're going to have to fight those eventually no matter what. Let's see. After you've attempted to strike the creature, it gets a chance to strike at you. You roll the die for the creature, and if it hits, you subtract points from your total. Combat continues until you win or your enemy wins. If your enemy wins, you turn to the losing section of text. If you win, you continue with your quest, reading the winning section of the text. A combat turn consists of 2 parts. You attempting to strike, then the surviving creature attempting to strike. During your combat, you generate random numbers either by rolling a 12-sided die or by randomly flipping the pages of the book, in which case the die face shown on the bottom left is your die roll. Turn to the combat table on 160. I just did that. The first column lists the... Here, let me show it to you while I'm talking. The first column lists the page number of the chamber in which you are fighting, right here. The second column lists the name of the creature or animated object. The third column has 2 sets of numbers divided by a slash. The number on the left of the slash is the number or less the monster needs to roll to successfully damage you. The number on the right is the amount of damage the creature will do if it strikes you. The last column shows the starting life points of each creature. Each combat turn, when you succeed in hitting your foe, you subtract life points from that total. When it reaches or is less than 0, the creature is dead, and you have won the battle. Any deviations from the normal pattern of combat will be noted here. All right, so what about me hitting them? Like, what do I have to roll? Did that explain it to you guys? I didn't see it. I guess it'll explain it when we're closer to the bad guys? I don't know, I hope. More bad news. You decide, because you have no real alternatives, to try to help the little people. Your first question is, if you're the general of the army, where are the troops? The gnomes trot out 68 gnomes, all dressed in odd assortment of armor and using the strangest weapons you ever saw. Your new army is deadly, all right, but the only way it'll kill the dragons if those dragons laugh themselves to death. When you ask if this is all the army there is, the head military gnome gets defensive, the most military thing he has done in decades. Speaking slowly as if he thinks you're stupid, he says that there are hundreds of thousands of life quests projects being worked on in the mountain, and even an invasion of dragons, draconians, and human warriors couldn't stop this activity. Life quests, after all, are what being a gnome is all about. When the gnomes realize that you really are concerned about how to fight this battle, they tell you the entire mountain is filled with powerful devices of war, each ready and able to defeat the dragons. Now they're talking, you think, but when you ask where these items are, none of the military gnomes know. They each have made a life quest of military fighting, but not of fighting with military weapons. A twinge of worry begins to nag at you. Your task then is clear. All you have to do is find as many of these military items as you can in the 20 days provided. Then you think to ask, are gnomes the only living things in Mount Nevermind? They look at each other, consternation on their faces. Then they all talk at once. Their cousins Nisifilde, pet raccoon, the horse gnome ship life questers whose mounts have been put to pasture, the hybrids the biologists developed, and yes, well, it seems that some parts of the mountain have a few monsters that have moved in. They might not look like being disturbed. They might not like being disturbed. Now you really begin to worry. No problem, said the gnomes, and they trundle out the biggest, shiniest, most powerful suit of armor you have ever seen. The gnomes have carefully prepared a suit of steam-powered armor for your use. They help you into it and show you how to use it. You're amazed at the power it gives you. The armor multiplies even your puny strength and protects you at the same time. Suited up, you walk into the mountain, ready for anything. Your faithful gnomish assistants. You have 68 faithful gnomes to help you and obey your every command. You don't know how they do it, but every time you enter a chamber, no matter how you got there, those 68 gnomes, at least you assume they are the same ones, are right behind you. They won't help in combat because you're the leader, but they are the ones that carefully carry any items you find back to the holding area for the great battle. The holding area is a large plain outside the entrance of the mountain where the dragons must come if they're going to invade. So, whatever you find will be taken to where you need it, or so the gnomes tell you when you ask them. Gnomes speak very fast. When word of your coming reached Mount Nevermind, all the gnomes were told to speak more slowly for your honor and benefit. Sometimes they forget, and their words run together, but you have discovered that trying to slow them down only gets them more excited, so to save some time, you try to decipher what they are saying when all their words are run together. The Gnomish Machinery Figure-Out Chart. You haven't the slightest idea how the gnomes make and use all the things they have. You aren't a technical person, but you are a very bright young man. Whenever the text tells you to try to figure out an item, you use the Gnomish Machinery Figure-Out Chart on page 157. Just follow the instructions there and you'll soon understand how the gnomes built what they build. All right, let's look at the Gnomish Machinery Figure-Out Chart. Yeah, exactly, Fabio. Iron Man armor made by gnomes. What could go wrong? So this is literally the chart in order to figure out how to use any of the items that we're going to run across. And it's all based on die roll. It's really wild. Based on the machine, it tells you what letter you need to get to, A, B, C, or D. And then your die roll takes you all around the track trying to figure it out. And then, different issues may happen as you're trying to figure it out. The bookmarks. There are 3 bookmarks attached to the back cover of this book to help you keep your place. Rye the Baker, the Draconian, and the Gnomish Mount Nevermind worksheet. I'll show those again. That's these 3 right here. The first is for your character Rye. Rye has 10 life points. These reflect how much damage you can personally take from the enemies and weapons in the mountain. When you reach 0 life points, your quest is over. However, you may acquire more life points on the quest. Under the Other Possible Life Points section are listed additional life points that you may acquire. When you do, simply circle the total in this section. Always use a pencil so that it can easily erase. The steam-powered armor also has points of strength. It is designed to take damage before you do. So when the text says you take damage, subtract the points from the armor first, unless the text specifically states that you lose life points. As long as the suit has hit points, it continues to function. When the suit's points reach 0, it is useless, and you must go on without it. Without powered armor, you are a very ineffective fighter. You are trained to beat dough, not the heads of dragonmen. Unarmored, you hit on a roll of 3 or less, and do only 1 point of damage to your enemies. With armor, you hit on an 8 or less with your fist or any other weapon and do a variety of damage. It varies because you can build up your armor's power by increasing the steam power in the suit. The damage you do varies as follows. The first combat turn is 5 points of damage. The second is 7. The third and all further is 10 points of damage per hit. That's awesome. The Hellraiser, the Marquand puzzle box. That would be messed up. Pinhead would just be he would just turn right back around. There's no way he would try to provide pleasure and pain to the gnomes. They would drive him nuts, I bet. All right, there are spaces on the bookmark for personal weapons that you might pick up in the mountain. There are items that you won't be able to use for the final battle, but which may prove useful while exploring the dark and not always abandoned outer regions of the mountain. The die roll you need to hit successfully with the weapons is 8 or less, just like your armor punch. The other objects carried section could prove useful as the quest progresses for making notes about non-weapon objects you pick up along the way. All right, so that's actually really helpful. If I have my armor on, if I roll an 8 or under out of the 12, then I'm going to hit it no matter what. If I roll a 3 or under without the armor, I hit. So it's much harder for me to hit without armor. The Draconian bookmark. The Queen of Darkness's forces aren't so dumb. They have sent some of the evil Draconians ahead to infiltrate Mount Nevermind and see what they can learn or use in defeating those numerous gnomish nuisances. You use this bookmark to randomly determine where in the mountain you come across one of these Draconians and what will happen to you then. Open the book to a page at random and place the Draconian bookmark on that page. I did that, and it's on page 18 as you see at the bottom of that bookmark. Let's see. Then forget about it until you come across the Draconian by turning to that page on your quest. Note the 1 to 12 die number at the bottom of the left-hand page. Match the number with the type of Draconian and its section number. Turn to that section where you must deal with the Draconian before going any further on your quest. Let's see. Be sure to note what section you are headed to when you are interrupted by the Draconian. After you encounter the first Draconian, place the bookmark randomly elsewhere in the book and proceed as before. If by chance you get the same number in the Draconian, you may generate a new number by rifling through the pages and stopping at random. All right, the Gnomish Mount Nevermind worksheet. That's this one right here. The third bookmark is a special worksheet to help you remember where you've been in the mountain. There may be times when you want to go back to a chamber or just make sure you never visit a certain place again. This worksheet makes sure you're aware of those places. There are also a few spaces provided to make notes on unusual things that happen in the mountain and a section to keep track of the time you spend there. Random effects tables. These tables will become constant companions on your quest through the mountain. The Malefic table on the page 158, that is this table, is used when the text informs you that some strange and unfortunate occurrence has happened. There are 20 items on the table, and you take them one at a time in order. If you get to the 20th occurrence, begin again with number 1 if you get another one. The Beneficent table on page 159, that's this table, deals with beneficial occurrences on your quest. If you run through all 20 of these, you begin at the top of this table as well. In using these tables, be sure to mark where you came from in the text. You may have to return there. Even more bad news. If you're about to explore Mount Nevermind for a noble purpose, you have a willing crew of 68 gnomish warriors ready to do anything you ask, except be warriors. You've got great steam-powered armor that increases your strength and your ability to hit enemies. You are ready. But as the gnomes lead you toward the main hall, you see a tiny green humanoid creature disappearing into the darkness. "What's that?" you shout. "Oh," says the gnome, obviously embarrassed. "That's just an imp. We don't know how they got into the mountain, but they seem to be multiplying like flies and are everywhere. They're usually just mischievous, but they could be a problem." Great! It's bad enough that I have to fight dragon men in 20 days, a dragon army in 20 days. Now I have to worry about imps too? Well, we'll take care of them as they come along. Is there anything else I should know about? "Well," the oldest says, "there are numerous tunnels, especially in the lower areas the gnomes don't use anymore. These have sometimes become the homes of possibly dangerous monsters." "Monsters?" you shout. All the gnomes around you look very sad and respectful. You'll never hear the whole story if you don't let them finish. "I'm sorry, go ahead." "Well, it seems that there are some monsters in some of the abandoned areas. A gnome can easily spot the entrances to such places and avoid them. You see, usually the monsters just roam around in their own areas and eat each other. It's only sometimes that they come out and eat gnomes. But we do have a committee looking into the problem. So, there are dangerous monsters and there are imps to deal with, but that's all." He stands as tall as he can, gives you a kind of salute and says, "We gnomes know you won't have any trouble with these minor problems. Shall we get started?" Then they take you by the hand and lead you toward the gnome flinger. All right, so the gnome flinger, I'm going to show you here in just a second, but we need to understand this because I'm going to ask for your help and your thoughts in the live audience, in live chat, on where I should go first and second and third. I want you to help me. So if you're willing, if you're, caught up with where I am in the stream, then by all means, let me know where you think I should go. So to do that, you have to understand how it works. This is a simple method of determining if you can figure out the device that you have discovered. Gnomish things have levers, wheels, buttons, pulleys, inclined planes, steam pipes, gears, and other types of switches. Because of this bewildering array of items, it takes a little time for even a gnome to start and operate one of these machines. If, for example, the text says you must reach A on this chart, and let me show you this chart one more time. Then you begin at the top of the chart and roll the die. If you roll 1 to 8, you successfully figure out the item. By rolling, you're actually pulling levers, pushing buttons, and just carefully examining the device in an attempt to figure it out. If you roll a 9 to 10 or 11 to 12, you continue along the chart in different directions until you reach a conclusion or decide that you're unable to figure out the device. If you rolled a 9 while trying to reach A, then you haven't figured it out, but the device is still operating in such a way that you can gain benefit. When the chart takes you to E, F, G, or H, the machine you are trying to figure out has helped you, even though you haven't figured it out yet. When this happens, you immediately go to the beneficent random effects table on page 159 and read the next effect. If you desire, you can then continue along this chart, or you can stop and return to the text. On the other hand, if you rolled an 11 while trying to reach A, you haven't figured it out yet, and the device is causing some harmful effects. When you reach I, J, K, or L, you immediately turn to the malefic random effects table on page 158 and read the next effect. Again, if you so desire, you can continue along this chart or stop and return to the text. When using this chart, it is sometimes possible to be trying to figure out an A item and reach the B, C, or D sections. When this happens, you have merely done an extra amount of figuring out, but you have succeeded and should turn to the success-related section of the text. So you can see that it's pretty convoluted, pretty complex, but we're going to be able to figure it out, all right, together, I hope. I've read through these instructions twice, and this is the third time now, and I'm still sort of trying to work through this. You eye the gnome flinger suspiciously. It doesn't look like anything you want to be a part of, but you glance again at the cliff with all its strange-shaped entryways. You can feel your curiosity overcoming your caution. There's a small knock on the leg of your armor. You look down to see a gnome calling himself Trumpsh, standing impatiently at your side. "Well," he says, his voice oozing doubt at your ability to handle the gnomes' problems, and whether you even have the courage to be flung through the air somewhere up on the cliff. Yes, the gnomes of Mount Nevermind need help, and never mind the fact that you've never done anything but work in a bakery. Never mind the fact that even the smallest Draconian soldier must outweigh you by 100 pounds. Never mind that you know nothing about military matters. The gnomes are looking to you for help, and by reorcs, you're gonna try. Hoping to see something that will help you make up your mind, you climb onto the earthen platform bearing the gnomes' steam-powered lift system, the gnome flinger. A gnarled, muscular, leather apron-clad gnome introduces himself as Gnompsh the Flinger Boss. He thrusts you toward a reclining seat, saying, "First trip, Nothing at all to worry about. This is the fastest, most reliable, tested gnome device anywhere in Mount Nevermind. It was built by my great-great-great-grand-uncle Bramps, and his family's life quest has been to make it better and better all the time." You stir restlessly under his barrage of words. Every time one of the gnomes talks to you, you hope you'll be able to understand him, but it doesn't seem to happen. By your side, Gnompsh, at least you understand that much, still talks while he pushes you onto the gnome flinger seat. You're about to resign yourself to whatever the gnome have in store when you shout, "Stop!" Gnompsh and the other gnomes who have been twisting dials, checking steam valves, and shoveling coal stop what they're doing and stare at you open-mouthed, incredulity in their faces. "I'm sorry," you say, surprised at the anguish in your voice. "But if I'm going to go through Mount Nevermind and find the things I think will help you and me beat the dragon army, I have to understand what you're saying. Please, talk slowly whenever you say anything to me. The gnome's looks change to ones of pity and dismay. The coal shoveler clucks through his breath, and you think you catch the murmured words, "Poor fellow, he'll be of no help at all. Doesn't have the brains for it. But I guess we can't send him anyway now. Guess we can't send him away now. It wouldn't be kind to let him know where we realize how weak-minded he is." Gnomsh gently pats your hand, saying loudly as if you are deaf, "I will do that, young man, and I will remind everyone else to talk slowly, too." He makes a gesture toward a less muscular gnome working on the gnome flinger. He's also younger, you see, and he turns toward you and raises an eyebrow questioningly. "Get on with it, Nesk," the flinger boss orders. You watch as young Nesk gathers a number of brightly colored flags and begins making broad gestures in the air with them. Suddenly, a loud whistle sounds and you see gnomish heads popping from the many opening in the rocks wall in front of you. They're all watching Nesk's signal, which quickly becomes faster than the eye can see, flips and twirls. You're afraid that Nesk will twist himself into a pretzel if he keeps this up for long. Finally, once more turning his head and giving you a look of pity combined with impatience, he slows down the motion of the flags almost to a stop. The gnomes on the cliff all look at you, shrug their shoulders, and duck back into the cliff openings. "The far-talking family is using a new system to send messages. Everyone knows now to speak slowly," announces Gnomsh. "Thank you," you answer in a tiny voice. You sit in the gnome flinger, not like anything you see, as the gnomes around you explain what you're indeed seeing. Before you are 5 levels of cliffs. There are also 2 chambers that you can easily walk to without being flung. You seriously consider getting out of the gnome flinger and going toward one of the areas within walking distance, but you politely wait until the gnomes are done explaining and you get a fairly good idea of what every entrance on the cliff face means to the gnomes. So this is the cliff face. There are 5 levels, each with a different shaped cave opening. And then here's the gnome flinger chart. So based on the day that you're using the gnome flinger, it's more or less difficult to actually get to where you want to go. So that's explained here. The closer you get to the time of the dragon army's invasion, the harder it is for the gnomes to concentrate on their flinging. The chart above judges your success rate for each fling, depending on how many days are left before the invasion. Each time you wish to be flung, generate a number from 1 to 12, then read the chart. If you get the number you need or higher, go to the page number of the chamber you want to reach. If you get less than the number you need, you miss your target and go 1 level lower and 1 entrance to the right. Add any extra points you acquire while on your quest. Also, for example, if you try for A on the highest level and miss, you would reach B on the next lower level. So, if I'm trying for the highest level up here, on day 1, I have to get a 5 or through a 12, right? So if I'm saying I want to go to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So 5th level, and this is A. So 5A right here. If I roll a 5 to 12, then I land there. If I don't, then you go to the next level down and over to the right. So it would be 4B instead of 5A. If I tried to do 5D, since I can't go down to the right, I would go to the first one, A, on the next lower level. So it's a little convoluted. It's a little bit strange. This is the level that you're trying to get to. And those are the numbers you need to roll under, or no, above. Yeah, you have to be within those in order to get them. All right. Like I said, it's a little bit confusing. So, for example, if you're trying on aim the highest level, I read that if you aim for the far right of the cliff and miss, you are flung to the left side, one level down. If you aim for the lowest level and miss, you are flung on an odd number to the library and on an even number to the light's chamber. Both are within walking distance to the gnome flinger. Days on the chart are measured only in whole days. If you're at 9 1/2 days on your quest, just read the 9-day column on the chart. So you can see the days here. So this is 1, 2 to 4 days, 5 to 7 days, 8 to 9 days, 10 to 13, 14 to 16, 17 to 19, and the 20th. Okay, the information you receive about the cavern is sketchy at best. You're only able to get hints about the places because the gnomes tend to be very clannish, even in the mountain, and don't get around much. Looking over the possible areas, you select one, tell the gnomes, and then close your eyes and hope for the best. Suddenly, you feel yourself being flung! When you think you've explored enough chambers, or when your 20 days have run out, like it or not, you'll have to face the Dark Queen's minions. When you're ready for the final battle, see the art on pages 80 and 81, then turn to page 82. Good luck. All right, so we are finally at the game, at the point of the game, and that is the exploration. So this is the information I have. The highest level is the nest, the cold, the bottle, and the plant. The second is the magnet, bakery, catapult, dark, and gallery. The third is maze, spark, undead, armory, and explosives. The fourth is crystals, military, toys, and signals. The fifth is water, clocks, steam, heat, and train. And then walking distances, lights, and libraries. The point I'm here doing is trying to find military devices to fight the dragon army when they arrive in 20 days. And so I'm inclined to go to the places that sound like they have military items like the catapult. But what do you guys think? Do you have any opinions on where I should try to go? Let me know, and I'll just sit here for just a minute while you ruminate on the possibilities. It's tough with YouTube because there's always a delay. I have it set on the smallest possible delay on the video, but there's still going to be a little bit. And so there's just no way around that, unfortunately. And then, of course, whether or not you guys want to contribute is the other half of the equation. All right, so in the absence of hearing your opinion, I'm going to do the catapult. This is the second highest level. So that means 2 to 12 in order to get to the catapult. Let us look at my random number generator. I need a 2 through 12. And I got a 6. So I got to the catapult. The catapult is page 106. Let's find 106. Wait, was it 106? No, I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, 106. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can't believe your eyes. This chamber is big enough to hold an entire huge castle. And surrounding it are a number of giant catapults, as well as other things that you can't identify quite as positively. The only person you see is a female gnome. You're about to go talk with her when you spot an imp sneaking out of a pit and hiding behind the legs of various pieces of machinery. But there's no mistaking the little piggish eyes. If you think you'd better fight the creature, turn to 121I. If you have something you want to say to it, turn to 97E. However, if you want to ignore it, you can just start exploring the fascinating chamber. If you are free to explore this chamber, you may investigate these different areas. If you've been to this chamber before, you can do this. Okay, so I'm going to go to my bookmark and mark down chamber 106, catapult, just so I know that it takes me one full day to explore this area. Fabio, you're actually right. I should have done the highest levels first. I didn't even think about that. Oh, man. Oh, well. Okay, so should I fight the creature or should I ignore the creature? I'm just going to ignore him. I don't need to fight him right now. Okay, however, if you want to ignore it, you can just start exploring the fascinating chamber. If you're free to explore the chamber, you may investigate. So do I want to investigate the female gnome, the trapdoor in the floor, the gorilla machine, tiny gnome near the gorilla, 2 catapults, machine with arms, the castle, the darkness at the far left of the... I want to explore. Is there any imagery? There's not. The machine with arms, 42H. All right, so 42H. Let's get up to 42H. I wish there was a faster way for me to jump around here. 42H. The thing with the arms is also a catapult. In fact, it can fling several things at once, making it a formidable weapon. You inspect it, wondering if you dare take it with you for the final battle. As you're staring at the steam rising from the conical dome in the center, the arms suddenly grab you. Roll a die. If you get 1 to 4, turn to 132B. If you get 5 to 12, turn to 118F. Oh boy. Okay. 8. 5 to 12 is 118F. Okay, 118F. Struggling to get free of the metal arms, you just managed to slip your armored shoulder in under one hinged appendage as it starts to close over you. The joint in the machine breaks under the stress, and you manage to slide out from under the broken arm. There's certainly no way you're going to take a man-eating machine with you in battle. You return to 106. Well, shit. That was a waste. Okay, so no machine with arms. The 2 catapults are the next. There's a tiny gnome near a gorilla in here. And then there's a gorilla machine. All right, let's go talk to the female gnome, 145G. Maybe she can explain what's going on. All right, you hesitate to interrupt the female gnome at her work. She's concentrating on turning some delicate screws in the somewhat conical instrument she's working on. You cough and introduce yourself. There's silence for a few excruciatingly long moments. Then she finally looks up and says, "Oh, hello. I was told you might be along." "What are you doing?" you ask. "Working on my life quest, of course, like all gnomes. Mine is exploring the heavens." "I'm surprised to see you, a woman, working on a life quest." "Why should you be surprised?" She pauses, then shrugs. "Oh, you mean because I'm not keeping house and minding children. Well, that's very noble activity for those women who feel themselves called to it, but it's not meant for me. My parents named me Star, and I'd rather search the night skies, especially since the Queen of Darkness and the Valiant Warrior constellations disappeared from the heavens. I've got to figure out what's going on." "Does this thing help you?" You point to the instrument. "Of course. It's my largest look to the far places without moving the feet instrument. I've been working on this far-seeing for a long time. Want to look through it? If you accept Star's offer, turn to 74G. If not, thank her kindly and go on to other things." "Yeah, I'll look." 74G. Let's see. Dang it. You kneel down so that your eyes are at the same level as Star's. She turns the far-seeing device so that the small end meets your eye. You gasp as you see the distant castle suddenly loom large in front of you. "Wow!" you exclaim. "I'd sure like to have one of these." "Would you? Here, I've got a small one you can have." "Well, I don't really have time to look at the sky, but I've got a battle to prepare for." "I know," Star replies. "Actually, this little far-seeing would be of more use to you in using the gnome flinger to get around Mount Nevermind. In fact, that's what I designed it for." You take the device, thanking Star. From now on, whenever you use the gnome flinger, you have a bonus of 2 points in trying for the exact location. Oh yeah. Okay, so what did she call this? It's just a small spyglass, I guess. All right, so +2 gnome flinger. Nice. I dig it. All right, return to 106. Okay, so we already did the female gnome. We did the 2 catapult. Oh, we did the machine with arms. Let's check out the gorilla machine, 117A. If the imp is still in the vicinity, turn to 113G. If not, turn to 128B. I mean, it still is, so 113G. You hear the huge gorilla, which you quickly see is made of metal and is actually a gorilla-shaped catapult, prepared to hurl a huge boulder at the castle in the distance. When you start to inspect it, however, it turns on you and attacks. Conduct the combat with the gorilla. If you win, turn to 97B. If you lose, turn to 116H. Oh my gosh, I have to fight a gorilla. All right, let's see. Where is... This is 113. I don't see a gorilla. Oh, 106. Gorilla catapult. It has 10 hit point. Or... What? It does 10 damage? It has 19 life points. Okay, so the round is I go, then it goes. So I'm going to go, and I have to get an 8 or under to hit it. Sweet. And the first attack, it does 5 points. So it's got 14 left. I'm going to just make a note right here. Then it attacks me, and it has to get a 4 or below to hit me. And it misses. Good. And then I attack it. I hit it with a 6. And this time, because it's the second round, I do 7 points. So that means it's only got 7 hit points left. It attacks me. It got an 8, but it needs a 4 or below to hit me, because I guess I'm small. I don't know. Then I attack it again, and I miss. It attacks me. Ah! It actually hit me. It does 10 damage. Holy crap. So I have 30 points left, because there's 40 total of the steam power points. Wow, that sucks. And then I attack it. I hit, and this time it's the third, so I do 10 damage, and it destroys the catapult. Suck it, catapult. Doggone gorilla. If you win, turn to 97B. That sucks. The fact that the metal gorilla catapult is automated makes it easier for you and your human-controlled, steam-powered armor to fight it. Finally, you smash it to bits on the ground in front of you. As its rock ammunition rolls away, return to 106. Okay, this place sucks. How about, I should have done the tiny gnome next to the gorilla first. Let's go talk to him after I've destroyed his machine. Oh wait, what was it? 154B? Oh gosh, did you guys remember? I forgot. Oh my gosh, come on now. It was tiny gorilla, 154H. 154H. When you decide to go talk to the old male gnome who stands in the distance staring at the castle, it seems as if you trudge for miles across the cavern's plain before you reach him. He seems startled to see you, but politely introduces himself as the oldest living member in the he whose members duck the best family. He seems quite proud of his status, but then you face changes from one of pride to deep concern for you. But all he says is, I wouldn't go near the castle or those catapults if I were you. When he seems inclined to say nothing more, you return to 106. Okay, so he's telling me not to go near the catapults, and I did anyway. Should I just leave this place? It sucks. We did the gorilla machine. We did the machine with arms. He said not to go near the 2 catapults. I'm inclined to listen to him. Should I just leave? Like, I got something out of the visiting here. Yeah, I'm just gonna jeez, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna leave. Screw it. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the main chamber. Okay, so I've already marked down the day that it took me to explore that right here. So we're going back to the gnome flinger. Where do you guys think? Should I do the upper levels just to make sure here? The highest level Wait, 5th highest level? That's the lowest level, right? Because the highest level is the highest level. It's up here. That's the 5th highest level. Okay, so the nest, the cold, the bottle, or the plant. It's day 2 now. And to get to the 5th, I have to get the 6 to 12, but I have the +2. So it's the 4 to 12 in order to get up to that 5th level. The plant, maybe? I don't know. The nest, the cold. Let's do 19B for darkness. You wanted me to go to that darkness? I'm not sure I want to do that. There is one here of the dark. I know you were referencing the earlier room. Let's see. I'm going to go to the plant. That's 146. So I have to roll a 4 to 12. I got a 6, so I got there. So the plant is 146. I'm going to mark down the day. I don't know why this keeps popping up. That actually bugs me a little bit. And then 146, the plant. Just so you guys can see that I marked it down right there. And let's see. The instant you step into the chamber, your eyes close in the bright glare. Only slowly do you manage to see what you have entered, a huge chamber containing what appears to be an entire farm. Then, as your eyes adjust to the gnomish created sunlight even further, you realize that perhaps it was intended originally to be a farm, but now it is a crop gone mad. Spread on and throughout the low-growing green plants are tiny skulls and limb bones, picking clean by something. You have a feeling that perhaps you'd better turn around and immediately run back the way you came. However, now that you're here, you're reluctant to leave any stone or plant unturned. If you're willing to stay, turn to 78A. If not, return to 8. I'll do cold next, Fabio. I'm going to stay, so 78A. 78A. As you fail to move away, the closest plant suddenly attacks you with its tendrils. At first, you just try to kick them away, but it quickly becomes apparent that you just got a real battle on your hands. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, Fabio, you're right. Try to hit refresh to make sure that you're up to the soonest, most recent part on the feed. All right, let's see. 133A. Conduct combat with the vicious plants. If you win, turn to 138F. All right. Vicious plants. Let's go to our bookmark and stats screen here. Where are the vicious plants? What the heck? It was 146, right? Generic plants. Okay, we can see. All right, so it needs a 5 or less to hit me, and it does 3 damage. But it has 21 hit points of damage. Wow! Okay, so I hit it, attack under an 8, so I hit it. It takes 5. So it's got 16 points left. It attacks me. It needs a 5 or less to hit me. Oh, of course. And it does 3 damage. So I've got 27 steam armor left. I attack it, which I hit. Even a natural 1 is good because you want to go low on these hits. So I do 7 more damage to it. So it's got 9 left. It attacks me, and it misses because it's above a 5. I attack it. That's what I need to hit it. And I do 10 damage, so I kill it. Awesome. All right, plant dead. If you win, turn to 138F. All right, 138F. Before the sharp leaves can reach your body, you smash and smash with your power armor, moving with speed you didn't know you had. You know the evil things want to turn you into skinless bones, so you discover an amazing agility that pays off. Gradually, the evil plants back off and even make a path for you to go where you want to go, to the tower. turn to 38C. To the big plant in the background, 117J. To the well, 22B. To the door on the left, 58I, or to the door on the right, 43F. Big plant in the background. No, the plants just try to attack me. I'm going to go check out the tower. Oh, man, I don't know. Let's check out that big plant. Screw it. 117J. Let's see, 117J. Well done, young man. It was very nice of you to make the effort to come over here, since I couldn't come to you. Then you find that it wasn't companionship the tree wanted, as much as fertilizer. You've got to fight again to avoid being eaten, you son of a... Conduct combat with the vampiric tree. Oh my gosh. If you win, turn to 145E. That was so obviously a bad choice. I can't believe I made it. That's the vampire tree. Ugh, if I knew that's what it looked like. Dang it. Okay, vampire tree. Let's look at the combat stats here. It needs to get a 6 or under to hit me. It does 4 damage, and it's got 31 hit points. Oy vey. Okay, so I attack, hit, and I do 5 damage. So let's mark that down. It's got 31, so that leaves it with 26. It attacks me. Oh, geez, it hit. It did 4 damage. I attack it, and I miss. It attacks me and misses. It needs a 6 or lower. I attack it. I hit. This time I do 7, which is, I believe, math. Let me know if I'm totally off in my math, people. Then it attacks me. It misses. It needs a 5 or lower. I attack it and miss. It hits me for 4. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I attack it and I miss. It misses me. It needs a 6. I hit it and I do 10 damage this time. So it's got 9 points left. It attacks me. Misses. I attack it. Miss. It attacks me and hits for 4. Oh boy. I attack it. Okay, I hit. And that's 10. So that kills it. Vampire tree sucks. It really took my armor way down. How is that possible? Did I do my math right? That looks really, really low. Okay, that sucked. If I win, turn to 145E. You leap and hop and jump and spin, all to avoid the tree's vicious branches from entwining you inextricably. Gradually, the fierceness of your armor blows wear down the tree, and its branches move slower and slower until you're able to pause for a moment and decide which way to go. Return to 146. Okay. You're free to explore this chamber. You may investigate the sun pillar, the well, the door at the right, the door at the left, or the huge plant in back. Well, I've already done the huge plant, and it's dead. I mean, the sun pillar, I guess, right? 90D. In what appears to be the center of the huge botanical chamber is a giant stone tower, which has on it 3 large levers. You wonder if you can do the gnomes a favor by turning the bright false sun off. However, as you head for the base of the tower, the horrible evil plants attack again. It looks as though you'll never reach the tower. All right, this is ridiculous. Turn to 133A. Conduct combat with the vicious plants. Stupid. Stupid plants. All right, it's got 21 hit points, but it needs a 5 or lower to hit me. So I attack it, hit for 5 points. It attacks me, misses. I attack it, hit for 7 points. It attacks me, hits for 3 points. No! I attack it, hit, and it kills it. Okay. Oh, I didn't show you guys the... Sorry, I was doing the bookmark stats. Okay. 138F. 38. F. Before the sharp leaves can reach your body, you smash it, blah, blah, blah. If you go to the tower, turn 38C. I'll go to the tower. Screw it. 38C. Safe at the bottom of the tower, you breathe a massive sigh and study the huge stone structure towering above you. There are 3 levers on the tower, and you have no idea which one you want to try. You can move to the lowest, 67A, to the one in the middle that moves vertically, 23G, or the little one on the top. I think I'll do the little one on the top, 110I, or 101I. 101I. There are actually 2 small levers at the top, both of them moving from side to side. You can move the upper one or the lower one. I'll do the upper one, 23B. Using just one finger, because that's all that can reach it, you move the upper lever sideways and immediately rain begins falling from the ceiling. You hold your mouth open, catching some of the thirst-quenching liquid in your throat. Refreshed, you look around the remainder of the chamber to see where you might go. 146. All right, this room sucks. I'm leaving this room. I'm going back. All right. You said we should try cold. The cold, 130. It is still 2 to 4. So let's see. 6, so I need a 4 to 12 to get there. I got a 7, so I got there. And the cold is 130. All right, now, this is the 3rd day. I'm marking down the 3rd day right here. Your blood starts to run cold the moment you enter the dry, cold chamber. You get just a brief glimpse of mounted monsters and mummy cases before a very lively figure rises before you from inside the enormous blood-red urn. Her lips open in what you think is going to be a grin of welcome. Instead, her sharp white fangs are revealed. The better to suck your blood, my dear. If you want to get out now, return at once by the way you came and go to the Gnome Flinger. If you think the chamber is worth the risk to investigate, turn to 56E. I'm getting out of here. That's a vampire. No, thank you. So that was a good idea. It took me... Oh, no, I went there and came right back, so it didn't take me a day. All right. I got to start looking at... like the explosives. I'll do the explosives. That's the 3rd highest. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a 2 to 12 with my spyglass. I got a 6. So I got there. 86. Whoosh! Crash! Run, run, run! Someone shouts, and a terrified gnome goes dashing past you, out of the way. Lights flare, rockets crash. Zip! Zoom! You don't even know where you are before you find yourself in trouble. You have a choice. Do you run, 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 or not? I'm going to run, run, run to 109I. 109I. You don't know what's happening, but you're ready to take someone's advice. You run. Breathless, you return to 8. You have not used a day. Well, that's nice. Take back my day and go back to 8. Wow. Okay. So the explosives are dangerous. Let's try the armory. All right. So it's still day 2. Maybe Fabio. I'm a little concerned about fighting a vampire when I just fought 3 plants and it took my health way down, you know? I still have to fight the Dark Queen's army too. That's the worst part. So you're probably right. I don't know. I'm going to go to the armory, 76. See if I can repair my thing or something. So that's the 3rd highest. So that's still a 4 to 12, which is now a 2 to 12. And I did it. So let's see. That's going to be, I'm marking down my next day. Going back to the 3rd day. And the armory is 76. All right. Stepping out of the passageway, you discover yourself in a huge chamber that thunders with the roar of heavy machines. You recognize giant projectile throwers of various types. You've certainly seen armor before, though you don't see any power armor like you're wearing. But what the thundering stuff that moves in massive stillness is, you have no idea. There are several gnomes working around the chamber, completely absorbed in what they're doing, or deet. You're not sure which. They ignore you completely, but an imp wanders nonchalantly toward you. You know it's challenging you in some unspoken way. Will you fight the imp? Talk to it if you have something you think you ought to know, or just ignore it and get on with investigating the things in the room. Well, it says it's wandering nonchalantly toward me. I know it's challenging me in an unspoken way. Let's talk to it. 97E. As you lean toward it, the imp starts to reach for your nose with its little clawed fingers, but you quickly say, "Wait! I have news for you." Its fingers pause in midair, and a quizzical look comes over its face. "The gate to your plane is open. You can leave now." To find out if the imp believes you, roll the die. If you get 1 to 7, turn to 22. If you get 8 or higher, turn to 38. 3. I don't think it believed me. 22F. 22F. The imp gets an excited look in its little brown face as it turns and flutters, scurries away. You think you hear it saying, "Oh, goody, 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 goody! I didn't like it here anyway." Clearly, it's living with the gnomes too long. Return the main description of the chamber you are in so that you can explore. Oh, shoot, I didn't write down what page the armory was on. Doggone it. Hold on. Let me find out where the armory is. It was 76. So let me mark that down. The armory. You know, I tried the explosives. I tried another one, didn't I? Was it the undead or was it the cold? It was the cold. It's a vampire, but not Strahd Zarovich. Still, maybe good to reinforce your armor first. I agree. Okay, so let's go back to the armory, and that's at 76. I'm free to explore the chamber. Do I do cannons, crossbow, tanks, knights in armor, guns, draconian statues, tunnels at the right, center, and left? I don't know. I'm going to do crossbows in the center. Maybe I can kill things faster. Guns. Let's go to the guns at the lower left. 34B. You find small wooden rack holding several peculiar gnomish devices that, unlike everything else in the chamber, look small enough to be held when used. Turn to the gnomish machinery figure out chart on page 157. If you succeed in reaching B, turn to 74F. All right, let's see. I need to get to B, so let's start and roll. I got a 2, so 1 to 8 you go to A. Good. I got an 8, so getting the hang of it on F. So it helps me. When did it say I use the beneficent? Sometimes helps gnomish devices figure and maintain spin. I can't remember because it said like these ones are the beneficent ones and these ones are. Hold on, I'm going to look this up really quick. I'm at 35 or 34B. So 34B is where I am right now because I got to move here. And we need to find Where's the beneficial parts? Right here, the beneficial table. 159 deals with beneficent occurrences on your quest. What? Hold on a second. To figure out chart. I thought at some point it said if you get like an I through a J or something like that. Where was that? Here it is. Okay. When the chart takes you to E, F, G, or H, and I just got to F, the machine you are trying to figure out has helped you, even though you haven't figured it out yet. When this happens, you immediately go to the beneficent random effects table. Okay, that's what I thought. So I was at 34B, and I just got to F, so that means I get this first. From a hidden volcanic vent near you, an oily mist jets out and strikes your armor. The mist restores or adds 2 points to your steam generator. Heck yeah! I want to do that until I'm healed. That's awesome. So I just marked down that I used the first one with my little checkbox, and I added 2 to my armor's total there. So I succeeded in reaching B. Not yet. I got to roll again. 10. I'm at F. So 10 goes to, it seems easier, G, which is still a beneficent. So the second beneficent is, for the first time, you notice a strange lever on your armor. You pull it, and your suit begins to shiver. In just a minute, it has repaired all the damage it has previously taken. Not believing your luck, you go to readjust the lever, and it falls off. You'll not be able to do this again. That's awesome. I'm going to go back to that vampire in the cold. Go see what it's got going on. Okay, I still haven't figured out this stupid machine, but I'm at G. So if I can get to C with a 1 to 6, I'll have figured it out. Oh my gosh. So I go to H, which is another benefit. You think you know what you're doing. You've not received life point damage. If you haven't, ignore this item and choose the next. Okay. Luck is with you. The next time you need to generate a number, that number will automatically be whatever you need for a beneficial result. Okay, well that's awesome because I need to get to D now. So 1 to 5, so I'm just going to do a 1 to 5. I'll do a 3. So I get to D. I figure out the machine. At 34B, if you succeed in reaching B, turn to 74F. 74. Yeah, you're right, Fabio. Commander Bond. I'm a little scared to go to the tanks, to be honest. The catapults were not very helpful. All right, so we're going to 74F. Just as you realize that things will shoot small but powerful projectiles from a handy standing or even running position, a gnome comes over to you and tells you that they're actually gnomish nail plungers, meant to be used for carpentry. But one of the Armor Life questers discovered that they made better weapons than carpentry tools, so here they are. You may take 2 of them. Each is a single-shot device that does 10 points of damage. Oh, that's awesome! Okay, so gnomish nail plungers. Okay. I have 2 of them, and they do 10 damage. That's awesome. That was totally worth it. Return to 76. Okay, so that was the guns. Should I go to the crossbows? Because those are more weapons. Tanks? I don't want to do the tanks. I have a feeling it's going to... But I need tanks. I'm going to be fighting dragons. I got to go check out the tanks. This is going to suck, but I have to. 96B. What? 96B. If you killed or sent away the imp, turn to 154B. I sent him away, so 154B. You wonder if you imagined things when you entered this armory chamber. Did you really see big trundling machines at the far end? If so, they're gone now. Oh, well, that's retarded. So the imp took the tank? Is that what we're getting at? Turn to 76. Okay, so there's no more tanks. The cannons, that would help. It's a scary proposition, but let's try it. That's 59J. 59J. You marvel at the ingenuity of the gnomes used to create different kinds of cannon-like projectile weapons. Chunk throwers, the head gnome engineer calls them. He's working on such devices all his life and has finally achieved an amazing reliability of approximately 26.52%. You mean that you can hit your target only 1/4 of the time? You ask, astounded. Oh, no, there's only a 1 in 4 chance that the device will explode when you ignite it. Before you can react to that bit of news, he goes on. Hey, I know why you're here, and one of these things could really help in the battle. Why don't you test one out? Of course, there's only one working right now, but you really ought to try it. If you agree to test one chunk thrower that works, anticipating that you'll get a very helpful device for the final battle, turn to 46D. If not, you thank the gnome who turns away, disgruntled at your lack of interest, and oh, I'm definitely doing it, yeah. 46D. The gnomish engineer shows you how to aim the thrower at a clear space in the back of the cavernous chamber. Then he loads it with a chunk. Roll the die. If you get 1 to 3, turn to 100G. If you get 4 to 12, turn to 711 or 71I. All right. I got a 2, so 1 to 3, turn to 100G. 100G. Following the engineer's directions, you aim the machine and press a red button. Duck! Screams the gnome, and all the other gnomes in the chamber fall instantly to the floor, hands over their ears. With a vast roar and a spurt of flame, the chunk sails from the device and strikes a large piece of rock hanging at the back of the chamber. A huge chunk of ceiling falls, making a cloud of dust. Wow! You exclaim. I'll take it! The chunk thrower will add 5 points to your offense in the final battle, if it works. Before using this item in battle, turn to 98J. Okay, so I got to make some notes here. Other objects carried. This is going to be sent by the other gnomes to the outside area. So what did they call it again? The chunk thrower? And it's +5 defense. But I have to reference, yeah, +5 offense. But I got to go 98J before use. Okay. There. Nice. So we got one piece. And that I'm still on the first day. I wonder if there's only a possible of 1 per. All right, I gleefully return to 76. Okay, so I checked out the cannons, and I got one. The crossbow in the center, the tanks aren't there. Let's go to the crossbow in the center. 96K. 96K. You go to the gnome seated in the driver's seat of what looks like a huge crossbow. The gnome explained that it's a oneger, a type of ballista. That doesn't mean much to you, but the thing doesn't look like much of a weapon either. When you say something to that effect, a slight sneer creeps into your voice based on what you think is considerable experience in weaponry, even though you're only a baker. Ah, but I've done something special and quite secret to improve it, however, he says, slowing down for you. Let me present a challenge to you. You go to the other end, and I'll shoot one of the darts from this contraption at you. If you survive, I'll give you one of the best armored devices that will add 10 points to your offensive capabilities in the upcoming battle. That's quite a challenge and quite a reward. But what an alternative! If you agree to the challenge, turn to... Okay, should I do this, guys? I need your advice here, because I've been making some bad choices. It's a gnomish device, so it probably will not work. If it does not work, and I survive, I get to add 10 points to my offensive capabilities in the final battle. That's huge, considering I just got a chunk thrower and only gave me +5. I think it's kind of worth it, don't you? I mean, the worst case scenario, I die. I don't know. I don't know. It's terrible. I gotta take the chance, right? I mean, what are the chances it's gonna work? There's no way it can work. It's not gonna work. You wouldn't, but some of your choices have been good. Oh, Commander Bond, you're not helping. You're making me second guess. 10 points, that's huge. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it is full, Fabio. All right. I'm doing it. 124i. Oh, boy, don't make me regret this. 124i. Figuring that the probable reward is greater than the possible damage the silly-looking weapon can do, you go down to the other end, figuring that you should easily be able to catch the dart that it shoots. You stand still while the gnome lines up his weapon. Oh, great, it's even or odd. If you get an even number, turn to 50J. If you get an odd number, turn to 108F. This is a 50-50 chance I'm going to die, I bet. It's an even number at 12. Oy vey. 50J. The dart flies so slowly that you can almost completely track its flight. But by misjudging its speed, you fail to catch it properly, and the sharp point cuts into your hand. It seems a small penalty to pay for a chance to acquire something to fight with in battle, but then the pain starts in your hand, and your arm turns numb, and your head starts to spin. Falling to the ground, you realize that the gnome has put poison on the dart, a wonderful new variation on an old whip. Son of a bitch. I just died. All right. What happens if I die? What does it say if I die? I'm just dead? Do I have to start all over? Hold on, I want to see real quick. There's got to be something like you returned something. I don't know. Each combat turn we succeed to hit when it reaches less than 0, the creature is dead, and you'll want any deviations from this combat as noted in the text. All right. Without power, you're ineffective, unarmored. Let's see. You did tell me so, Commander Bond. That's fair. Dang it. Stupid poisons. All right. I don't see anything that says if you're ready to die, then, so I guess that's it. Let me see if there's anything back here at the end of the tables. No, it looks like they're just... Huh. I'm sorry, you're not looking at what I'm doing. I'm just like fanning through the book really quick here. That sucks. I mean, I figure it's as good of a place to end as possible anyway. Son of a gnome! Son of a gnome flinger. All right, well, you know what? I gave it a go. Now I know how the game is played. I can kind of go through the next time I play this. I'll just start from, very beginning of the game at the gnome flinger without having to read all that intro text and stuff and just go from there. I do want to play this again, just not today because I've already been doing it for an hour and 20 minutes. I got other stuff to do today. So if you guys want to join me again, let me know and I'll get in here. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I always appreciate that. And if you think it's worth sharing, then that would be awesome too. That's it for this episode of Gaming Dragonlance Catacombs Books Dragonlance Solo Quest. Gnomes-100, Dragons-0. What did you think of the game? Have you ever played it yourself? Feel free to email me at info@dragonlance-saga.com or leave a comment below. Thank you for tuning in. I'd like to once again invite you to consider becoming a patron or member of this channel, and you can pick up Dragonlance gaming materials using my affiliate link. All of the links are in the description below. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the Dragonlance Saga, even Mount Nevermind. And I hope you'll join me in that celebration. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with Dragonlance Saga, and until next time, Slanjavar.